Every time Starry Group finds a creature that is suspected to be something beyond sacred blood creatures, we would give it a number and record it. This is no. 107. You mean this giant flower? Hansen checked out the red flower, which looked like a plant in every way. Although it was huge in size, there was no way it could be a creature. Give me the dagger now, and you don't need to go inside, Ningyu said calmly. I do not want to give you my dagger, and I don't want to go inside either, Hansen replied. You can try to kill us all and run away, Ningyu said with a smile. Ningyu's words made the evolvers laugh. They all pointed their weapons at Hansen, indicating that they could take Hansen's life anytime. No one believed that Hansen could run away under the siege of 14 evolvers. In addition, Hansen's upper body was chained with the special Z-steel locks on his joints. Give me the dagger or go in the valley. Your pick, Ningyu said quietly. I choose to kill. Hansen shook his body and twisted in the weirdest angle. All the locks that were on his joints fell from his body. After removing the locks, Hansen quickly summoned the cursed wolf dagger and stabbed it at Ningyu. Ningyu did not look surprised. He summoned a slim sword and wielded it at Hansen. The 13 evolvers also summoned their own weapons and started to attack Hansen. If Hansen insisted to kill Ningyu with his dagger, he would be facing 13 weapons himself. The fitness level of Hansen was slightly weaker than the sacred blood evolvers. Although he could increase his strength and speed using heresy mantra and overload, his original fitness was not improved. What a shame. I did not want to kill, but Hansen sighed and said. He was speaking his mind. Before figuring out the relationship between the Nings and the Hans, Hansen did not want to kill. However, he was left with no choice. Same as Ningyu, Hansen was the kind of person that would leave no mercy when he decided to kill. Retreat. Ningyu suddenly had a bad feeling. Although there was no way that Hansen could block so many weapons, for some reason, Ningyu felt danger. As the weapons were about to reach Hansen's body, it was too late for Hansen to run away, and for the evolvers to take back their weapons. Despite Ningyu's command, his men could no longer stop themselves. Boom. A giant monster in jade armor that looked like the cross between a scorpion and a bee suddenly appeared next to Hansen, knocking away all the weapons about to hit Hansen. The weapons used by the sacred blood evolvers were top-notch in First God's sanctuary, but none of them could hurt that monster. Instead, the evolvers were knocked back. Crack. A pair of claws that looked like the sickles of the death crossed above Liu Lin's shoulders, sending his head into the air. Liu Lin's eyes were stared wide even after death, filled with terror. The fierce super golden rock worm king killed his way into the group. Its 4 wings buzzing, the worm king danced with its 8 claws moving up and 50 down. It was a true slaughter. Wearing super pet armor, the super golden rock worm king did not even look like something that belonged to First God's sanctuary. Even the sacred blood evolvers could not hurt it. Instead, anywhere the Worm King went, limbs would fall, and blood would jet out. In front of absolute strength, even the Kuei sword skills were completely useless. As tough as Ningyu, he felt shocked when seeing the sacred blood evolvers that Starry Group took a lot of time and effort to cultivate slaughtered like this. What shook him even more was the existence of the super golden rock worm king. Could it be something beyond a sacred blood pet? Ningyu sighed and gave up, standing still and waiting for death to come. Ningyu, what's so special in this valley? Hansen asked, with his dagger on Ningyu's neck. Just kill me. Don't ask. Ningyu did not move a muscle, not even opening his eyes. It is not that easy to die either, Hansen said calmly. Suddenly, a beast soul was summoned and rushed to Ningyu. Ningyu's expression suddenly changed after he heard what Hansen said. He quickly opened his eyes and saw an ugly dark purple beast soul that looked like an alligator in his face. Boom. The beast soul did not pause and entered Ningyu's body. The giant creature sent itself into Hansen's chest with ease. Ningyu felt his whole body was stabbed and impaled, like someone was slicing his muscle. However, that feeling only lasted for a second. Shortly, the ugly beast soul came out of Ningyu's body and curled up next to Hansen, its spooky eyes fixed on Ningyu. Without hesitation, Ningyu turned his sword around and stabbed it at his own chest, trying to kill himself. Roar. The ugly beast soul opened its mouth. Suddenly, Ningyu lost the control of his body. He spread his hands and dropped the sword on the ground. Hansen gazed at Ningyu and met his eyes. Kill me. It is impossible that you get anything you want from me, Ningyu said calmly. Ningyu, do you recognize this? Hansen realized that ordinary questions could not shake Ningyu's will. He pondered, took out the red crystal pendant that looked like a cat or fox, and showed it to Ningyu. The moment Ningyu saw the pendant, his expression suddenly changed. From what the Aqua Reaper had read from Ningyu's mind, Hansen heard crazy exclamation, 9-life cat. How could it be the 9-life cat? It is impossible. I have investigated into your background. There is no way that you are the offspring of Instructor Han. Why is it impossible? Seeing that Ningyu's guard was down, Han Sen asked immediately. Ningyu seemed to be dazed by Han Sen's question. A long while later, he suddenly stammered, "Yes, you should be his offspring. Yes, you are. Otherwise, how could you be so strong? And how could you?" Ningyu suddenly looked up at Han Sen with a complicated look. "If you showed me the 9-life cat earlier, we would never end up this way. Instructor Han is a benefactor of the Nings. If I knew earlier that you are his descendant, I would never dare to disrespect you." Han Sen snorted and said, "Even if he had saved the Nings, it was a long time ago. If I don't have the strength to defend myself, I don't think you would mind killing me." Ningyu shook his head and said, "We have a family instruction saying that if we meet any descendant of Instructor Han, we have to treat the person as a benefactor. The Nings would never dare to be disrespectful to you." Han Sen was very surprised. He could sense what Ningyu was thinking with the Aqua Reaper. Han Sen knew that Ningyu was telling the truth. "You have looked into my background, so you should know about the acquisition of my family business by Starry Group. Why have you targeted us?" Han Sen stared at Ningyu and asked. Han Jingjai's deeds were ancient history, but he had to know about his father's death. Ningyu paused and said, "You are not saying that my family murdered your father. Whether you believe it or not, I can tell you for sure that there is nothing of the sort. To be blunt, if it was my family that killed your father, my brother would have killed you as soon as he saw you the shelter. No one would let the son of his victim hang around." Han Sen frowned slightly. In fact, what Ningyu said was what had always puzzled him. Son of Heaven had looked into his background a long time ago. If Starry Group had murdered his father, there was no way that Son of Heaven would let him live. After all, it was a piece of cake for Son of Heaven to kill him at the time. Ningyu continued, "However, your father's accident had nothing to do with Starry Group. Even the manager who was in charge of the acquisition felt surprised about your father's accident. However, even without the accident, Starry Group had prepared a lot of financial means to acquire your family business. If Starry Group needed to kill someone for such a small acquisition, then it will have nothing to do all day but murder." Ningyu paused and said, "I'm not saying this to beg for my life. It is simply something that we are not responsible for." Han Sen frowned at Ningyu for a while, pointed to the vines and flower, and asked, "What is that about?" "The giant flower and its vines are a strong creature. Initially, I wanted to force you fight it. If you manage to kill it, I could take the opportunity and gain its body. However, if you are killed, I would be able to get rid of a huge threat and learn more about the creature," said Ningyu. Han Sen looked at the flower and vines again with interest and asked Ningyu with his eyes squinted, "Do you want to live? Do you dare to let me live?" asked Ningyu. "This is number 107. Your family should know a lot of places like this. Give me the information and I will let you go," Han Sen said. "Okay." Ningyu did not even ask whether Han Sen would let him go after receiving the information before telling Han Sen all the locations. With the information accumulated by the Nings for generations, Han Sen could easily locate the super creatures. "You can go." Han Sen commanded the Aqua Reaper to loosen the control on Ningyu. However, the Aqua Reaper was still inhabiting on Ningyu. Unless Ningyu's strength surpassed the Aqua Reaper, Han Sen could still order the Aqua Reaper to control Ningyu to commit suicide from 1,000 miles away. Ningyu was dazed. He did not expect Han Sen to let him go for real. Momentarily, Ningyu knew what Han Sen was thinking but did not react. All he said was, "The offspring of Instructor Han would only be a friend of the Nings and never an enemy." Ningyu turned to leave without explanation. Han Sen turned his eyes to the giant flower and vines in the valley. He did not mean to take the risks himself. Han Sen raised his hand and summoned the Holy Angel. He had always been wondering how strong Holy Angel was, and this was the perfect opportunity. At Han Sen's command, the Holy Angel quickly transformed. Her armor, hair, and eyes all turned golden. Flapping her golden wings, she flew toward the giant flower. Her speed was not fast. The moment she reached the vines, all the vines in the valley started to shake. Hundreds of vines as thick as arms swept over at her at an incredible speed. Holy Angel suddenly moved. She flapped her wings hard, and the hundreds of vines suddenly looked slow in comparison as the gorgeous figure flashed across. Boom! As the Holy Angel brushed by the vines, they broke one by one. The giant flower quickly shrank and made spooky noises. The remaining vines started to shake and came at her again like the chains of death. However, that was completely useless. As the Holy Angel flew by, she waved her hand and the vines were cut off as if they were grass. Instantaneously, the Holy Angel had made her way to the flower with ease. Roar! The flower suddenly turned into the mouth of a beast with fangs bared. It quickly swallowed the Holy Angel that was approaching. Han Sen regretted that he did not put the super pet armor on the Holy Angel. After all, this was very likely to be a super creature. If the holy angel who had just evolved was swallowed like this, it would be a gigantic loss for Han Sen. In addition to being a super pet, such a pretty humanoid pet was extremely valuable itself. As Han Sen was regretting, he suddenly saw the flower split from the middle. The gorgeous figure came out of the flower as regal as a queen. Her body was not even colored by the gushing blood. Super creature purgatory flower killed. No beast soul gained. Life essence available. Surprisingly, the voice sounded in Han Sen's mind, making him feel emotional. Back in the days, he could not even break the eyes of the baby golden growler, while now even his pet could kill a super creature like killing an ant, which made Han Sen felt unreal. Amazing. Truly amazing. This girl is even more incredible than the golden rock worm king, which is also a super pet. Han Sen did not come back to himself until the holy angel returned to him. He hugged her in excitement and was about to kiss her on her cheeks. Han Sen did not have any lewd thoughts. It was just an unconscious move. However, although the holy angel let Han Sen hug her, she raised her hand to Han Sen's lips, so Han Sen only kissed her cold armor. Han Sen was dazed and looked at her gorgeous face, which was completely emotionless. Han Sen frowned and took back the holy angel. Walking deeper into the valley, Han Sen saw a basketball-sized green crystal, which was the life essence of the disappeared purgatory flower. Han Sen took the crystal up and started to lick. The cool liquid turned into a coolness and filled Han Sen's body as he drank. Han Sen felt like his whole body was cleansed. Life essence of purgatory flower consumed. 1 super geno point gained. Shortly, Han Sen heard the exciting voice, which drove him to lick the life essence harder. After consuming the entire piece of life essence, Han Sen had acquired 8 more super geno points. At this point, he had 68 super geno points in total. Although Han Sen had not been to a test center for a while, he estimated that his fitness index should be approaching 30, which was the same as a sacred blood evolver. If you come too late, you would not even be a worthy enemy, let alone friend. Han Sen suddenly thought of what Son of Heaven said and smiled. After returning to the shelter, Han Sen contacted Lin Beifeng as he had promised to sell Lin Beifeng the Phantom Ant armor, which he no longer needed. Lin Beifeng was overjoyed getting his hands on the Phantom and armor. It would still be 2 to 3 years before he maxed out on Sacred Blood Geno points, so he could use the armor for a long time. The practical reasons notwithstanding, Lin Beifeng was happy with how it looked anyways. Han Sen did not take cash from Lin Beifeng, but asked Lin Beifeng to collect some Sacred Blood meat so that Han Sen could fill up his Sacred Blood Geno points, which he now had 85. Han Sen had to prepare for the graduation test and other procedures, so he would to stay in steel armor shelter for a while. That phoenix-like creature is the closest to steel armor shelter. I will kill it when I have time. If I put the super pet armor on the holy angel, she should be able to resist the flames. If I could have a beast soul from that creature, then it will be so good. Han Sen thought to himself. When Han Sen returned to Blackhawk, his roommates were all in the dormitory. It was rare that none of them was in God's sanctuary, so they went to the cafeteria to hang out. They had agreed beforehand that none of the guys could bring a +1. Han Sen, where do you plan to go after graduation? Shi Jiking asked Han Sen with one arm throwing around Han Sen's shoulders, tipsy. I will let the AI decide for me, Han Sen said helplessly. Although Han Sen wanted to serve on the warship where Jai Yanran was, even if he had to be just a soldier, he could not even find out which warship Jai Yanran was on. Han Sen did not plan to have a career in the military, so it did not matter where he went if he could not see Jai Yanran, as long as he was not sent to the front to become cannon fodder. Even if he was sent to the front, he was still an elite who graduated from military school, so he would still be an officer instead of a common soldier. The roommates were talking and laughing, chatting about their dreams and ambitions. They didn't return to the dormitory until midnight. Han Sen rarely had time to enjoy school life. In these days, he was focused on learning theoretical knowledge as well as the ancient language. Even in such an era when martial arts had been highly developed, none of the demigods dared to say they could tear apart the vacuum with their own body. If I could practice Dongshuan Sutra, no one in the alliance would be my match. I don't even need to be as good as Dongshuan. If I am half as good as him, I would be invincible in the alliance still. Even demigods meant nothing to me. Although Han Sen had controlled his strength very well, he was still the absolute #1 in the test and became a major in the military. Each military school only had a few quotas for that kind of honor. However, based on Han Sen's grades and his contribution to the school, his rank was well deserved. In 48 hours, the AI would make a decision about his assignment. Brother Han, I'm sorry. When it was time for Han Sen to check where he was assigned, Wang Mingmeng came to him with her head bowed. Han Sen felt she did not dare to look at him. Her voice was so low that Han Sen could barely tell what she was saying. Brother Han, I'm sorry. I used my connections to assign you to the Warframe Force where I'm about to go to without your consent. Brother, I'm so sorry. Wang Mingmeng was basically whispering. Her face was red, and she was avoiding eye contact. That's no big deal. The Warframe Force that you will go to is definitely a good one. I probably should thank you for that, said Han Sen, searching for his assignment information. However, the information shown on the display made Han Sen pause. Sister, is the Warframe Force you're going to join called Daphne? Han Sen looked at the information AI displayed incredulously. Daphne, we're supposed to go to the Royal Warframe Force. Wang Mingmeng looked to the display without doubt and was also shocked by the information. It clearly said that Han Sen was assigned to the cookhouse of Warship Daphne. So strange. Did they make a mistake? Wang Mingmeng became anxious and dialed a number with her comlink. Shortly, Wang Mingmeng had an odd look on her face. Who did this? Han Sen asked calmly. The information display was very weird. It did not tell him about the exact location or even the number of the troops. All he knew was that he was going to serve at the cookhouse of a warship called Daphne. A major who graduated from a military school was assigned to a cookhouse. That was rare but possible. However, it was only possible for the several top warships in the alliance, which did not include Daphne. Han Sen would not believe it if no one had tempered his assignment. I don't know. The connections I used were not able to do anything. Your assignment was decided by the central AI. No one could change it without top authority. Wang Mingmeng suddenly stared her eyes wide and looked at him. Brother, did you ask anyone to do this? If it were me, I would not have asked you who it was. Han Sen pondered and asked, is it possible for me to find out who did this? Wang Mingmeng shook her head, looking confused, and said, we do not have enough authority to access that information. However, only a few people would be able to do this. Is it possible that Starry Group was behind it? Han Sen asked again. That is unlikely. Although the Nings had some influence in the military, they would not have such high authority, and we would be able to know it if it were them. Wang Mingmeng shook her head and said, then there is no need to think about it. I'm okay with any post. If someone wanted me to go there, I'll go have a look. Han Sen had a relaxed attitude about it, since he would not be able to resist someone who could pull this anyway. Even the cookhouse needs a major. I wonder what kind of place Daphne is. The roommates of 304 had a last supper with Wang Mingmeng and her friends. Everyone was feeling a bit sentimental. In the end, they went to a holographic karaoke. Shijiking sang a song called The Brother Who Shared My Bunk, which made the girls wet their eyes. Brothers, our time had just begun. On the way to conquer the universe, we will meet again. When we see each other, I hope you will still remember my face, because everywhere else of my body would be decorated with medals. Han Sen did not remember much other than that. Although he was able to stay sober using jade skin, Han Sen chose not to do that. Sometimes, he did not need to be sober in life, and this was one of those times. When Han Sen left Blackhawk, he did not tell any of his friends, but walked out of the gate alone. Little birdie, here I come. Han Sen set out on his way riding the Golden Growler, feeling quite excited. When there was no one around, Han Sen commanded Golden Growler to turn into its largest form and run at full speed. Han Sen could not even begin to describe how fast it was. Each step it took would bring Han Sen 50 feet closer to his destination. Han Sen felt the Golden Growler was some kind of ancient monster. With the Golden Growler, Han Sen was confident that he could hunt a lot of super creatures within 3 months. Otherwise, it would take him a lot of time to just travel. Initially, Han Sen was going to hunt the phoenix-like creature, but he had only been there once. Last time he was here, they went to the carbonized tree first and then found the snow mountain. However, when Han Sen reached the area, he did not see any burned tree or other familiar signs. Then he had to look for the snow mountain according to his vague memory. After an entire day of searching, he did not spot any mountains. It looks like someone is over there. Han Sen looked up and saw 4 mounts coming his way. On the back of the mounts were 2 men and 2 women. Judging from the mounts and their armor, they were not ordinary people. Whoever dares to come to the Devil Desert should be extraordinary anyways. A young man with thick eyebrows like caterpillars asked, friend, can you sell us some of your water? The other 2 women and 1 man stared at the water bags next to Han Sen, licking their dried up lips. It was easy to find food with lots of creatures around in the desert. However, water was rare. The group of people had been lost in the Devil Desert for a month, and it was the first time they saw someone. The first thing they were asking was not the way out, but water. Without speaking, Han Sen threw the bag of water at Jia Chengfeng and continued to eat. Thanks so much. Jia Chengfeng was overjoyed. Initially, he planned to pay a lot for the water. They were in a desert after all, where water meant life. Jia Chengfeng did not expect the guy to be so generous. Don't. Jia Chengfeng took the water back and was about to share it with the rest. The other guy, who was thin, stopped them. He then took out some test paper and dipped it into the water to see if it was poisoned. When he saw the result, the thin guy named Xiao Lingfeng let out a sigh of relief and let everyone drink. Friend, do you know how to get out of the desert? If you could take us out, I can pay you well. The payment is unnecessary. I need to hunt here, so I'm not going out. Follow that direction and you could get out of the desert in 3 to 4 days, Han Sen said, pointing at a direction. Friend, if you are willing to lead the way, I can pay you a sacred blood beast soul, Xiao Lingfeng said. Seeing Han Sen was unimpressed, both Xiao Lingfeng and Jia Chengfeng were surprised. The two girls also looked to Han Sen, feeling incredulous. Lead the way for us and we can make sure you join the Iron Fist Martial Hall. Iron Fist Demigod will instruct you himself, said Xiao Lingfeng, pointing at Jia Chengfeng. Being able to be instructed by Jia Sidao himself was the dream of many among the celebrities and aristocrats. However, Han Sen was not really interested in it. If it was before, Han Sen would consider it. Jia Sidao was a demigod after all, and Iron Fist was one of the most well-known hyper-geno arts. However, since he got his hands on Dongshuan Sutra, Han Sen had been studying the ancient language. Although he still did not understand everything, the parts that he understood made him overjoyed. Rather than wasting his time on learning Iron Fist, Han Sen would rather spend his time on the ancient language. If he could understand Dongshuan Sutra, it would be very easy for him to become a demigod himself. However strong Iron Fist was, it could never make him tear the vacuum apart, let alone teleport to God's sanctuary using his own body. I thank you for that, but I really have my own thing to do. Friend, maybe you don't believe me. That is okay. I will teach you some skills in Iron Fist right now. How about you lead the way after learning? Jia Chengfeng thought about it and decided that Han Sen must think they were lying, which was the only explanation for him being dismissive. Han Sen was speechless, as he was really not interested in learning Iron Fist. However, since the group of people did not mean him harm, Han Sen did not want to let them down. He asked Jia Chengfeng, on your way here, have you seen a snow mountain? I'm looking for that mountain, and if you could take me to find it, I could take you out after finishing my business. Hearing Han Sen's words, one of the girls suddenly looked at him and asked, are you talking about a large mountain with only its top covered in snow? Yes, did you see it? Han Sen was overjoyed. Look, it's right there. After traveling for a day, Jia Yan suddenly exclaimed, pointing at a mountain far away. Han Sen had much better eyesight than Jia Yan. In fact, he had seen that mountain a long time ago. However, Han Sen frowned because the mountain looked different from the one he remembered. We can't go any farther. It is the habitat of the evil demons in front of us. Jia Chengfeng was leading the way, stopped and asked everyone to pause. On the black mountain walls, there were many thickly dotted holes, which would make a person with trypophobia vomit. There were many red centipedes as thick as arms climbing out of the holes. The centipedes were about 6 feet long and looked extremely ugly, crawling around on the mountain walls. Han Sen took a closer look at them. Although they looked like centipedes, they had a triangular head on each end of their body which was made of red bones. Connecting each bone was a pair of red hands with only 3 fingers. As they moved, the small hands were moving like the feet of centipedes, which was creepy to look at. These creatures are very petty. If you started to attack them, the whole group will come this way. You might be able to run away on your sacred blood mount, but we will die for sure. You're right. Since that's the case, you can leave first. I will join you after I kill them. Han Sen pondered and said, you don't think you can really kill the king alone, do you? Jia Yan stared at Han Sen with her eyes wide. Here's the water. Leave now. If I fail and die here, you will have enough water to go out. Han Sen threw the majority of the water bags to the guys, only saving a few for himself. The group looked at Han Sen in surprise. Han Sen had given the majority of his water to them. If they took the water away, it would be difficult for Han Sen to leave the desert with the remaining water after killing the evil demons, if he could kill the creatures at all. The 4 persons were all confused, not understanding what Han Sen was thinking. They had no idea about the golden growler's real speed. If the mount went at its full speed, the remaining water was enough for Han Sen to come and go several times. Han Sen, think about it. These creatures are very fast in the desert. Even with your sacred blood mount, you might not be able to outrun them, Jia Chengfeng also said. If you don't leave now, I will start to shoot. Han Sen aimed his arrow at the evil demons. Let's go. This guy is crazy. Xiao Lingfeng did not think Han Sen was joking and quickly pulled his sister away. Jia Chengfeng also pulled Jia Yan away with him. The bony fish arrow flashed across the sky and reached one of the two heads of the giant evil demon king. The evil demon king quickly stood up like a snake, all the three-fingered hands under its body facing the incoming arrow. A pair of hands grabbed the bony fish arrow, which continued to spin, making strident noises. However, momentarily, many hands covered the arrow and held it down. Hearing the sound made by the evil demon king, the group of four covered their ears and turned back to look at the mountain. The guy really did it. Jia Chengfeng muttered to himself, looking in the direction of the mountain. He has saved our lives. Should we really leave him alone? Jia Yan was hesitant. What can we do? You all know how strong the evil demons are. Han Sen was more happy than surprised to see his arrow held by the evil demon king. An ordinary sacred blood creature would not be able to stop his arrow, which meant this evil demon king was very likely to be a super creature. Although he was in the wrong spot and failed to see the fire bird, another super creature would be more than welcome. He jumped on the back of the golden growler, which shook its body and roared, growing into a small hill and rushing at the group of evil demons. The giant body of the lion stamped on the evil demons, killing countless creatures as it ran. The group of evil demons were like a red pond in the eyes of the golden growler. Although the golden growler was a mount and did not have the ability to attack, it was so huge in size and so tough that even the walls of the shelter could not withstand it. Hearing the voice telling him creatures killed, Han Sen occasionally gained a few beast souls. The seemingly impressive evil demons were even weaker than earthworms under the paws of the golden growler. Han Sen looked at the golden rockworm king fighting the evil demon king. Circling around the demon king in the air, the golden rock worm king attacked it with 8 sharp claws. The evil demon king had extended the better half of its body out of the hole, squeaking with its head high. Moving its hands, the evil demon king was trying to capture the super pet. However, the golden rock worm king was fast and flexible. Although the evil demon king tried a few times, it failed to capture the super pet and lost a few hands to its sharp claws instead. Although the super pet hurt the evil demon king a couple of times, it did not have the absolute advantage. The two monsters kept fighting each other, squeaking at times. With the super pet armor, the evil demon king could only manage to scratch the armor and could not hurt the super pet. Boom! The gorgeous figure of the holy angel flashed on the mountain wall. She waved her hand and cut the evil demon king, which was held down by the golden rock worm king, in half. Half of the body of the evil demon king quickly fell from the mountain and made a huge pit in the sand. However, when it landed, the half of the body was still moving. With poisonous blood flowing, it threw itself once again at the golden rock worm king, and even the super pet armor was left with some marks. The holy angel used her hand like a sword. Momentarily, the half of the body was sliced into pieces and stopped moving. The triangular head was even cut into 4 pieces and exploded. This time, the evil demon king was completely quiet. Watching the evil demon king killed, Han Sen looked to the hall on the mountain wall, upset. The other half of the evil demon king's body had disappeared, and Han Sen did not hear the voice telling him the creature was killed. And the pieces of the body in the sand were corrupting quickly, which seemed abnormal. Without any hesitation, Han Sen took the golden growler and the golden rockworm king back and entered the hole with Holy Angel. The group of people returned to the area of the mountain. What they saw made them feel so appalled that they could not shut their mouths. The bodies of evil demons were everywhere. The blood had formed a river and the bodies had become a hill. White sand was colored into burgundy by the poisonous blood. Half of the evil demon king's body was lying on the ground. Although corrupted, it still looked shocking. Han Sen lighted a torch and looked around in the cave. He suddenly saw an alloy case in the corner. Someone had been here before. Han Sen was surprised. The case looked like it was the advanced product from the Alliance. It was made of top-notch Z steel that was not only tough but also light in weight, making the case more portable than Z steel armor and weapons. Han Sen checked the style of the case, which looked expensive but old. He did not think it was produced recently. Who could come to this place with the group of evil demons outside? Although modern technology was useless in God's sanctuary, Han Sen did not dare to be reckless. He stepped back and asked the Holy Angel to open the case. The Holy Angel was fearless. She reached her hand in the gap and pulled the case open. Nothing weird happened. In the case, there were 3 bottles and a crystal card. Geno Solutions. Han Sen looked at the 3 bottles and felt surprised. Although there were 3 bottles, only one of them was filled with purple Geno solution. One of the bottles was empty, and one was broken. As Han Sen was hesitating whether he should leave already, He felt the giant cave was shaking and then heard noises like thunder. The rumbles became louder and louder, sounding quite scary. Hansen pondered and took back the holy angel. He shapeshifted into the color shifter and leaned against the mountain wall, turning into a part of the rocks. No one could tell he was there. The rumbling continued for a while before it softened. Very soon, Hansen saw the evil demon king came from a wide hole. The huge body slithered out, which was still more than 60 feet long. The injury on the end of its body was still there but had already healed. Suddenly, he saw something else coming from the same hole where the evil demon king was. It was a creature that looked like a white rhinoceros with 3 pairs of legs, looking magnificent. On the back of the white rhinoceros sat a person. Hansen was shocked to see someone else riding a creature in this place, who was also getting along with the evil demon king. Everything seemed so odd. Hansen could tell that the white rhinoceros was definitely a creature instead of a beast's sole pet. The creature had a murderous scent which the pet did not have. The woman sounded like she was not a human herself, but Hansen had never heard a creature would look exactly like a human and could talk. The evil demon king, which only had half its body left, followed the woman into the hole. Hansen had now understood that the demon was a bait the woman sent. Who is that woman? She is so strange. I have never heard that human could control a creature, which is also a super creature. How is that even possible? A long while after the evil demon king disappeared, he slowly moved his body toward that hole. Hansen carefully entered the hole, which was rather wide. Very soon, Hansen saw the woman in the white rhinoceros again. In addition to the woman in the white rhinoceros, many man-made tools were laid around, such as tents, walks and bowls. It seemed like the woman had spent quite some time in the cave. Hansen stopped breathing and integrated himself with the stone wall, observing the woman, someone who could command a super creature. Even Hansen felt surprised by his discovery. It was hard to believe that such a person even existed. There was a white mask made of bones on the woman's face, and a pair of purple horns were standing in her long hair like crescents. Shura royalty. How can this be? What shocked Hansen was the fact that Ashura had made her way into God's sanctuary, which was not supposed to happen. It was not to say that Shura did not have teleport devices. Even if they had none, it would be easy for them to grab one from human in the wars. However, Shura was rejected by God's sanctuary itself. Even with a teleport device, no Shura would choose to enter this space. Human had conducted an experiment to teleport Shura prisoners into God's sanctuary, who immediately got sick with the symptoms of flu. As their immune system went down, they all died in God's sanctuary within 3 days, adults and children alike, no matter how strong they were. However, this Shura royalty seemed to have lived in God's sanctuary for a long time already. Hansen was scared by the idea that Shura might be able to survive in God's sanctuary. Shura's physique was much better than human in the first place. If they were able to survive in God's sanctuary and gain Geno points, the consequences would be dire. An ordinary Shura adult had the same physique as a human evolver, and a strong Shura fighter would be the same as a human surpasser. With such physique, it would be easy for Shura to kill all creatures and leave none for human. Among black, white, golden, and purple horns were the Shura royalties who had the strongest physique. Once older than 10, they could be over 100 in fitness index. Although Hansen did not know how old this Shura woman was, she must be more than 10 years old, which meant she definitely had a fitness index beyond 100. Once Shura like her entered in first God's sanctuary and started a fight with human, Hansen could imagine what would happen. Even Hansen, who only had a fitness index below 30, could already become invincible in first God's sanctuary. Hansen was covered in cold sweat on the thought as unspeakable fear filled his heart. It was beyond his personal interests. If Shura were able to survive in first God's sanctuary, it would be the nightmare for the entire mankind. As Hansen was trying to leave, to his surprise, the Shura girl suddenly let out a scream. He turned to look at her and saw her kneeling on the floor, moaning in pain. Her body kept shaking as she huddled up. The evil demon and the white rhinoceros seemed to be so scared that they each ran away into a stone channel like rabbits. Bang! Hansen heard a loud noise. The Shura girl, who was holding her head and moaning in pain, suddenly started to bang her head against the floor, smashing the rock into pieces. Hansen watched the girl hitting her head against the rock repeatedly, and was shocked. It is Shura girl, a lunatic. Watching the Shura girl banging her head on the floor, Hansen could not help feeling an urge to kill her. She looked like she was having a reoccurrence of some disease. Maybe he could take the opportunity to kill her. Boom! With another hard bang, a large pit was formed as all the rocks within a range of 12 feet were crushed. After that, the Shura girl did not move anymore, but fell in the pit and fainted. The evil demon and the white rhinoceros then came out of the stone channels. The evil demon approached the unconscious Shura girl, hesitated, and suddenly opened its mouth and bit at her. Hansen was dumbfounded. He did not know what was going on. A moment ago, the evil demon was following the Shura girl like a puppy dog, while all of a sudden, it was about to eat her. Maybe this creature was extremely intelligent and knew how strong she was, so it pretended to be enslaved by her until it could find an opportunity to eat her alive. The evil demon caught half of the Shura girl's body, so her hair was falling in the air. Hansen saw clearly that the pair of purple horns were gone. Hansen could not believe it and rubbed his eyes. As he looked at her one more time, he still did not see the purple horns that represented Shura royalty. What has happened? Did I make a mistake earlier? Hansen was filled with doubts, but the evil demon was already ready to swallow the girl like a snake. Seeing that the evil demon king was about to eat the girl, Hansen gritted his teeth and summoned the holy angel, and the cursed wolf dagger dashing at the evil demon king. The evil demon king knew how strong the holy angel was and dodged her attack immediately. However, Hansen was already in its face. The white rhinoceros roared and quickly threw itself at Hansen, running with its 6 hooves. As Hansen pointed at the rhinoceros, the golden rock worm king flew at it. Taking this opportunity, Hansen stepped aside and touched the head of the fainted girl, trying to make sure whether she was Shura. Hansen felt nothing. The pair of purple horns simply disappeared without leaving any trace. Hansen felt her head again and again. He could not believe what had happened. He was sure that he did see a pair of purple horns shaped like crescents. However, they were gone just like that. Shura's horns could not be retracted. Otherwise, there would be a million for Shura spies among human. The horns of Shura were connected to their brain. Even if they cut the horns off, there would still be scars where the horns used to be. He wanted to leave the girl alone, but there was no safe space in the cave given 4 monsters were fighting inside. Hansen had to hold her in his arms for the moment. The evil demon was almost beaten by Holy Angel. Lots of its hands were cut off. Although they were both super creatures, the Holy Angel was obviously the top of the top, even comparable to the adult Golden Growler. The evil demon, however, was more or less on the same level as the Aqua Reaper. In addition, the evil demon was hurt in the first place, so it was no match of the Holy Angel. On the other side, the Golden Rock Worm King was against the White Rhinoceros. To Hansen's surprise, the Rock Worm King was at a disadvantage. In terms of both speed and fitness, the Rhinoceros was stronger. Hansen put the super pad armor on the rock worm and enhanced its defense. This way, it could compete against the white rhinoceros. Hansen rushed over to fight the evil demon with the cursed wolf dagger in his hand and his wings flapping. He decided to take the weakest link out first and leave the tough ones for later. Bang! The giant body of the evil demon suddenly became limp. It fell to the bottom, making the entire space shake. Super creature evil demon killed. No beast soul gained. Life essence available. Meat inedible. Holding the girl under one arm and the life essence of the evil demon in the other, Hansen dashed to the tent which was already damaged by fallen stones. He found a quilt in the tent, took it out, and placed the girl on it. He then ran toward the life essence covered under the piece of cloth. Fortune, such a fortune. Hansen almost jumped up, unable to believe his own eyes. Hansen bent over and licked at the yellow crystal, trying to make sure that it was life essence. As the yellow liquid was swallowed by Hansen, he suddenly heard the voice. Life essence of super creature earth dragon beast consumed. Hansen was overjoyed. He was finally relaxed as these were truly life essence. Mine, they're all mine. Hansen summoned Meowth in its transformed state, put a bag around neck and started to fill it with life essence. The golden growler was too big in size, so it would be inconvenient for it to leave the cave. Hansen had to put the burden on Meowth. 3 life essence crystals, in addition to the ones from the evil demon and the white rhinoceros which was about to be killed. Hansen was almost certain that he would be able to gain 5 crystals of life essence at once. These 5 crystals might even make him max out on super geno points. Hansen paused as he suddenly felt something was wrong when moving the crystals into the bag. Hansen turned around and was suddenly dumbstruck. The girl had already sat up. She tilted her head and regarded Hansen with her wide eyes blinking. Hansen was so happy that he had forgotten about the girl. Seeing she had woken up, Hansen suddenly remembered that she was possibly a Shura royalty and was then covered in cold sweat. Hello. Hansen forced a smile and said hi to the girl, thinking, I should not have such bad luck. She does not look like a Shura royalty either. The girl did not respond, still staring at Hansen with her eyes wide as if she had never seen human before. Hansen's heart sank. He wondered what she was thinking. This thing, you have no use of it, so I will take it away, Hansen said to the girl, holding the blue life essence high. This time, to Han Sen's joy, the girl unexpectedly nodded. He put the life essence away and said, "You were unconscious just now. That creature tried to eat you and I saved you." The girl was so strange that Han Sen did not know where she came from. It would not hurt if he started to sweet talk. As the saying goes, no one would slap a smiling face. The girl blinked and said nothing, watching Han Sen transferring the life essence to his bag. Roar! The white rhinoceros suddenly screamed. Han Sen saw the head of the white rhinoceros sent into the air by the holy angel. The golden rockworm king was still clinging to the body of the white rhinoceros, its tail digging into the rhino's meat and its claws holding the rhino's stomach. Super creature white jade six-legged rhinoceros killed. No beast soul gained. Life essence available. Meat inedible. Han Sen heard the voice again. The next moment, Han Sen became pale because the girl suddenly moved. She was so incredibly fast that even with Han Sen's eyesight, he almost lost track of her moves. As the girl stepped forward, she almost appeared in front of the golden rockworm king instantaneously, throwing a punch at the pet. She was so swift that the golden rockworm king had no time to dodge, and Han Sen did not even manage to take back his pet in time. Boom! The tender fist of the girl hit the golden rockworm king hard. The hole was left on both the super pet armor and the worm king. Han Sen took the golden rockworm king, holy angel, and Meowth back in his mind and ran away immediately. Han Sen just started running when the girl stood in front of him in the blink of an eye, her face almost hitting his. As Han Sen stepped back, the girl did not attack him, but stared at him with her big eyes. There was no hostility on her face. Han Sen suddenly had a thought and did not summon the Worm King and Holy Angel. If this girl was trying to attack him, she should have done that a long time ago. However, she did not attack Han Sen, who was the closest to her, but hit Golden Rock Worm King. That probably meant she had no intention to hit Han Sen. "Sister, my name is Han Sen. How shall I call you?" Han Sen asked with a forced smile, as he felt awkward but did not know what to say. "Zero." Han Sen did not have much hope, but to his surprise, the girl answered him. "Zero," the girl said and squatted down, writing zero on the floor with her finger, which turned out to be standard Alliance language. Seeing the word written by the girl, Han Sen felt more relaxed. "Zero, this is your first name, right? What is your last name?" Han Sen asked. "Just Zero," the girl said without explaining further. She was still staring at Han Sen as if there was something on his face. Han Sen thought Zero did not seem to be too intelligent. He licked his lips and said with a fake smile, "We are friends, not enemies, right?" "Friends, not enemies," Zero nodded and said. Han Sen was overjoyed, spread his hands and said, "We are good friends, so we don't fight, right?" "Good friends, no fight." Zero nodded again, agreeing with Han Sen. Han Sen was even more pleased as he felt Zero was indeed a bit dumb, like a 3-year-old. Did she hurt her brain when she bangs her head on the floor? Han Sen was secretly happy. He walked 2 steps and pointed at the life essence on the floor, asking, "Tell me, can I take these?" This time, Zero did not speak but nodded. Obviously, she had agreed. Han Sen was on top of the world. Originally, he thought there would be no gain this time as both Golden Rock Worm King and Super Pet Armor were severely damaged, and it was still questionable whether he could survive. Life essence was out of the question. However, things suddenly took a turn. He still had a chance to take away all the crystals of life essence, which was a great surprise to him. Han Sen waved at Zero, walking out with Meowth. Although Zero meant him no harm, Han Sen did not know where she came from, and she was troubled mentally. Who knows if she would become mad again? Han Sen decided to be as far away from her as possible. However, when Han Sen arrived at the channel where he came from, he found Zero right behind him. It seemed that she was following him silently. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and enable notifications so you don't miss the next chapter.